Is this Brooke?
Yes, it is. Who's this?
Hi, Mom. It's me. It's been a long time since we saw each other for the last time. Has it been 15 years since then? How have you been?
Did you just call me Mom? Oh my goodness. Is this Kayla?
Yeah, it is.
How did you know my number? Did your dad give it to you by any chance? Did you text me to demand the answers from me why I left you and your sister 20 years ago? Did you text me to make me feel guilty about it?
No, not at all. It's not like that. Dad has been acting weird lately, so I secretly looked through his phone to see if something was bothering him. And there I found you getting in touch with him. You're so shameless, aren't you? How could you ask him for money after you haven't called once after leaving him and the two of us behind 20 years ago? It's been 2 decades, and that is a long time. You called him out of nowhere and asked him for money? Does that make sense to you?
What did you want me to do? What was I supposed to do? I have a son and his name is James. My precious son has acute leukemia and needs an aggressive treatment, but I can't afford it. I need money to keep him alive, but I can't afford the medical bills even if I work 3 jobs. James may be nobody to your dad, but he's your brother who shared the same blood.
I don't have a brother. I only have a sister, and she's my only sibling.
Don't be so harsh. He is your brother because I gave birth to all of you. You're going to help your sick brother, right? He desperately needs your help and he deserves one.
Did you say he deserves my help? How can a stranger deserve my help? You're funny.
Like I said, you guys have the same mother and that makes you brother and sister. And he's not a stranger. You're old enough to have a job by now. You must be making some money, right? I need your money. Please help me and your brother. You're not going to let your brother die without trying, are you?
I'm telling you again, I don't have a brother. I never had one my whole life. You divorced Dad and left us behind when I was barely 11 and Eunice was 10. We were so young and we needed a mom. Still, you didn't care about us. You left us behind because you fell in love with another guy. You cheated on Dad and you even married your lover. And then you had a son that I wasn't even aware of. Even if you call him my brother, I don't empathize with him and I'm not going to help him. He's not entitled to my help, and I'm not obligated to help him. Don't fool yourself. Do you even know what the rest of us had to go through after you left us irresponsibly? Dad had to quit his 10-year job because he needed to take Eunice to doctor's appointments and therapies and treatments for her disability. He ended up working short-term contractor jobs and had a very tough time to be a dad and a mom at the same time.
Do you think it was easy for me to raise you? I was so stressed and exhausted to raise you girls who were only 1 year apart. It drove me crazy that both of you were always crying, and that was absolutely abnormal. Postpartum depression hit me hard, and I became lethargic. On top of everything else, I was alive but dead inside after Eunice got into a car accident that made her paralyzed. I thought my life was finally getting better once Eunice was 10 and you were 11, but that accident turned everything back to square one. Eunice couldn't even go to the bathroom by herself, and she needed around-the-clock care. She needed me every second. I felt like taking care of her was even harder than when she was an infant. You wouldn't understand how I felt. I was so embarrassed to take her to the doctor in her wheelchair. My life was miserable, and all I could think of was to kill myself to end this agony.
You were embarrassed of Eunice? How dare you say that? You were not allowed to be embarrassed. Did you forget why Eunice got into an accident in the first place? She saw you holding some other guy's hand on the street, so she was calling you and following you. There she was hit by a semi-truck and eventually became paralyzed. She lost her freedom of walking because of you, and you were embarrassed of her? What kind of mother are you talking about your disabled daughter that way?
What's the problem with what I'm saying? I never signed up for taking care of a paralyzed girl. Everything I'm saying is how I feel, and these feelings are all valid. I was thrown into a role I was completely unprepared for. I had no other choice than leaving you guys because I wanted to breathe again and live my life. What was so wrong with that? Was that a crime? I thought Eunice and your dad might not understand me, but at least you would. Was I wrong? You particularly loved me since you were very little, and you didn't even go to sleep without me. You needed me to sit by you whatever you do, when you were eating, watching television, and even when you were doing your homework. I thought you would love me until the end of the world, no matter what. But was I wrong about that? You loved me, unlike Eunice, who was only looking for her dad, which I hated about her.
Oh, so you knew I wouldn't go to sleep without you, and you still left me? Especially for a guy? I might have tried to understand you if you left us because you were so miserable and you needed to run away from your pathetic life. But the fact is that you left us for a guy. Don't you dare ask me if I would understand and forgive you. Every night I told myself that you were on a trip and you will come back home eventually. I prayed every night that you would come back the next day. Do you have any idea how much I missed you? I burst out in tears when other kids were talking about their moms, or even when they brought up the word mom. And sadly, that feeling faded away slowly over time. And now even just the word mom makes me uncomfortable. And what did you say again? You hated Eunice for only looking for Dad? How dare you say that when you clearly know why she was only looking for Dad? Don't you remember what you said to her? You said if you'd known she was going to be a waste of life, you would have rather never given birth to her. She was only 10 at the time and you hurt her so much with your words. How do you expect her to like you after what you said to her? After what you did? She loved you so much too. She was only 10 but was very considerate that she didn't want to bother you so much. She dragged her butt by herself when she needed to go to the bathroom so you can have a moment to rest. Of course, she's paralyzed from the waist down, so there wasn't much that she could do by herself. But she tried her best not to bother you to gain your love back. She was only 10 at the time. Don't you feel sorry for her?
Stop it. I don't want to talk about what happened in the past. The past is in the past and I can't do anything about that. But we can do something for right now. I said my son is sick and he's going to miss the golden time of treatment if I don't have the money ready soon enough. You know what? You can blame me and hate me all you want, but I need your money right now. I'll let you take your crap out on me later when James gets better with the money you provided.
You tossed us aside like a bag of garbage and you're devoted to your son? Why don't you toss him away like you did to us? You left us because Eunice became paralyzed. So you should have no problem leaving your son since he has leukemia, right? It's so ironic that you choose which one of your children to love or not to love. Is your mother's instinctive love different for every child?
Have you ever been in love?
What does that have to do with anything?
I asked if you've ever been in love with someone. You should know what love is if you ever had a boyfriend. You are undoubtedly willing to give up everything when you meet the love of your life. You will do anything and everything for him because you love him so much unconditionally. And a baby from that love is utterly precious. That baby deserves my entire heart and soul, and nothing in this world matters anymore.
So you're saying Eunice and I didn't deserve your undivided love because we're the babies you had from my dad whom you didn't love?
I never loved your dad. I was told to marry him by my parents, so I did. But I never felt happy being with your dad who barely spoke and barely made money. I still had two of you in that unfavorable situation whom I didn't want in the first place. I was so tired of everything all the time. Every second of 10 years of my marriage with your dad was so miserable. And then out of nowhere, there he was. I met the love of my life and realized what everything is supposed to be after I have my son with him. I realized this is what people say about fruition of love. This is what a mother's instinctive love is. This is how a marriage should be. I felt my world was flipped upside down.
It is so pathetic and a waste of time to listen to you. I don't feel bad about myself for crying every night and waiting so dearly for someone like you to come back. I feel so bad that I loved you so much and missed you all the time. I don't have a penny to give to someone like you. So stop butting into my life. We finally got back on our feet and we're doing just fine without you. Don't try to tear it up again.
I never tried to butt into your life. I only called him to get the money I deserved but wasn't able to get back in the day.
Are you saying he owes you money? What kind of money are you talking about?
We didn't go through the division of property when we divorced each other 20 years ago. I was busy leaving him to be with the love of my life, and I didn't want to waste another second not being with him. I thought money didn't matter, but now I'm thinking back. I deserve the half of whatever your dad and I had. I was entitled to half of the property. This is between me and your dad. It's grown-up talk. I don't need your opinion or criticism. Mind your own business.
What property? We were left with nothing because of you, remember? You wasted everything we got from the insurance company from Eunice's car accident. We were supposed to help Eunice with her therapy with the insurance payout, but you just wasted all of it. You spent all that money on your love of your life, didn't you? We knew it back then, but we were so young and there was nothing we could do. You just wasted it, and you didn't give a penny to the rest of us. And now what? You think you were entitled to the property? You're disgusting. You make me sick.
No, whatever happened with insurance payout is different from what I deserved. I was still entitled to the property because your dad and I were legally married for 10 years.
What a fool. You can't claim for division of property after 2 years from the date you were divorced. You should have looked into it carefully if you really wanted the money.
What? What kind of unfair law is that? I should be able to get what I deserved even after 40 years. It doesn't make sense.
I said there's nothing to give you. Even if we had something, we wouldn't give anything to you. You're nothing to us.
I didn't expect you to be like this to me, but fine, I get it. I understand that you must be left with nothing after helping Eunice's rehabilitation therapy. I know how much that will cost. You might not have money, but you still have your house. It's kind of old as it's been 30 years since it was built, but still, it's better than nothing. It's a seller's market right now, so it shouldn't be so hard for me to sell it. Just transfer the ownership of the house to me. Then I'll give your dad the half of the sales proceeds. See? I'm being so fair. This is the true definition of division of property. Please talk to your dad to hand it over to me. It would be greatly appreciated if you could do that for me.
Again, tell me exactly why you think I should do that?
Because you loved me. You used to do everything I asked you to do. You said you were waiting for me to come back every night, so here I am. I came back for you, and I need your house.
I'm telling you over and over again, I'm not that 11-year-old when you left me. I loved you when you were my mom, but you stopped being my mom the moment you left me and Eunice to be with your so-called love of your life. I don't think I even hate you anymore because you're nothing to me. You're not worth a bit of my feelings. I'm not that little girl who used to do everything her mom asked her to do. I'm a grown-up who has her own job and having her own rules and principles. You should have realized that already. And what kind of house are you talking about? We don't have that house anymore.
What? You sold your only property because you were so hard-pressed to make a living? This is exactly why I left your dad. Your dad was not capable of putting the food on the table for the family. I had to find another guy who could do that for me. I kind of hoped he would do better now, but I guess he doesn't. Poor you. You and Eunice must have a hard time making a living every day because of your incompetent father.
Don't you dare talk about him. He devoted his life to us, and we are so grateful for what he did for us. And for the record, we sold the house not because Dad was incompetent, but Eunice and I were competent. We sold the 30-year-old house, and we moved into a 5,000 square foot single-story house where a lot of celebrities are in the neighborhood.
What? 5,000 square foot house with celebrities in the neighborhood? That's not possible. Did you say you were competent? What do you do for a living?
It's kind of funny to show off how capable I am, but money? A house? Aren't they supposed to be in your hands automatically when you try your best?
I literally don't understand anything you're saying. Oh my goodness. Don't tell me you guys became some kind of escorts or prostitutes so that you can make a lot of money so effortlessly. Is that because I wasn't there to take care of you?
Look what you're talking about. I guess that's all you can think of because you're such a whore. You might not want to believe it, but I'm a YouTuber with 300,000 subscribers.
What the hell is that?
I'm a crime story YouTuber introducing crime stories from all over the world. I research the crime cases myself, and I also write the scripts myself. I also work as a voice actor. I've done several animation projects over the last couple of years. Don't you dare accuse me of making money like that. I read and study endlessly to make my videos. I'm one of the top crime story YouTubers out there, and I fought tooth and nail to become what I became.
Is that true? How much can you make if you become a YouTuber?
Why should I tell you how much I make? I'm making a hell of a lot more than whatever you imagine. Can we stop this conversation? I don't want to talk to a stranger anymore.
You can't call your mom a stranger. You became such a successful YouTuber because I gave birth to you. If it weren't for me, you couldn't have been what you are today. Wouldn't it be unfair for me if only your dad gets to enjoy your success when I was the one who had you and raised you? He can't be the only one to live in that 5,000 square foot house.
Oh, I think you misunderstood. I didn't buy this house myself. Eunice and I bought it together. She paid for half of it.
How can someone like Eunice with paralysis buy a huge house like that? Did she make a fortune by receiving disability benefits?
That's all you can think of, right? Don't be too surprised. But she can walk now. She still needs to work some more. But she can stand up and walk by herself. Thanks to Dad. He was completely devoted to her therapy, and she could have walked again because of him. Because she wasn't able to walk. She was always sat down, and all she could do was draw. It was her only comfort, and she became such a good artist after spending many years of drawing. And eventually, she became a pretty well-known cartoonist. She was abused and treated like baggage by her mom, but she became one of the best cartoonists in the field. She couldn't be happier. I guess we became successful because you got out of the picture. We couldn't have become what we have become if you were still our mother.
Do you think it makes sense that you guys are doing so well when I'm having such a hard time? If both of you have plenty of money, aren't you supposed to have mercy on your mother who gave birth to you and raised you? Isn't that what a human is supposed to do? Isn't that your responsibility as my daughters? What about your one and only brother? You can help him with his treatment if you're so rich. Don't you know rich people should help poor ones and they will be blessed even more?
I'm sponsoring a lot of different charities on a regular basis, so you don't have to worry about me being blessed even more.
Are you saying you're gladly helping strangers but you can't help your mom and brother? That's so messed up! Can't you be a decent human being?
It's funny how such an inhumane person like you is telling me to be a decent human being.
What a disrespectful woman you've become.
I am done with you, so I'm going to block you now. Don't you ever try to talk to me again. Stop being pathetic and talking to Dad. He's been seeing a nice woman for a while now. Don't even think about trying to interrupt them and get the hell away from us.
What? Your dad is cheating on me?
Do you even understand what you're saying? What you did to him was cheating because you were seeing other guys when you were still married to him. You and your dad divorced 20 years ago, and him seeing other women after he was divorced can't be cheating, can it? Eunice and I introduced a good woman to Dad because he devoted his 20 years of his younger life raising us. She is the complete opposite of you. You don't need to care about how we're doing since we're total strangers now. And mind your damn business with your love of your life and so precious fruition of love.
Hold up, Kayla!
After what happened with Brooke, I blocked her and my dad changed his number so she won't be able to call him again. He's so sick of her that he's afraid she's going to call him again even after he changed his number. She was such a monster who didn't even ask how I have been all this time or paid a sincere apology for what happened. And she still called herself my mom. I guess I won't have to see her or talk to her ever again. I'm sorry that our relationship started as mother and daughter but ended up as an ill-fated relationship. But I want to forget what happened in the past and move forward, hoping that the three of us can live happily ever after. I hope that things between Dad and his girlfriend work out, so I might have an actual mom someday. We had our bad days that all we could afford was a $1 mac and cheese from the dollar store, but I'm grateful that I can help other people who need my help. I'm happy that my hard work paid off, and I can continue the work that I love so much.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more videos.